Hello. Welcome everyone to the Coaches Show. We're excited that you're here. We're excited everyone can hear us today. I am Tarika Foster Brasby. I am the sideline reporter for the Connecticut Sun, and I am happy to be joined by Connecticut Sun head coach Stephanie White. Can we get some love for Coach White here? Okay, I was making sure you guys were paying attention. Okay. All right, well, Coach White, first and foremost, congratulations are in order. We are not only honored to call you coach, but now we have to share you with Team Stewart. So I might be in my feelings about that a little bit, but it's okay, we can share you. How did you react to receiving this honor?
It's exciting. I think it's an opportunity for our staff to just be around the best players in our league, so that's a lot of fun, but it really is a testament to just our team and where we are right now and what this group has been able to do up until this point. At the end of the day, we don't want to be sitting in this position in July. We want to be sitting in this position in October. So really keep in perspective, but just thankful for the opportunity, our team has positioned us as a staff for. Really, really excited for AT and for DB to participate in the All-Star game as well. I mean, they've certainly earned that opportunity and they deserve it.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, you know that we were very vocal, and by we, I mean Tarika, very vocal, about AT not being selected as a starter, but just knowing that she and DeWanda Bonner are going to be represented in this game. Just like, how does that resonate with you? Do you think the coaches got it right? Was there some people missing? It's okay to be biased. But yeah, like how does that make you feel as a coach to know your players got it?
It's exciting for them. They've really done an outstanding job all season long. I mean, certainly everybody understands, anybody who knows the game understands how difficult it is to do what AT does in terms of the triple doubles and night in and night out. I think DB's playing incredible basketball. Certainly felt like Breezy deserved an opportunity to get the recognition as well. But overall, we know that the starters are fan votes and popularity contests, and at the end of the day, to get the nod from the coaches is really a tremendous honor for our players.
Now, do you have any predictions on three-point competition, skills contests? I mean, we won't get to see Allie Quigley this year.
I know,
so
I was like, okay, well, Quigley's out, so let's see who might be in.
I have no clue. I'm guessing next week they'll probably announce like who's participating. I have no clue, but I think that if the people who are not already reserves are participating, I would love to have seen Beck Allen in the three-point competition. I feel like she would be a force.
For sure, for sure. I would love to see that. I don't know who's going to be participating, but I'm looking forward to just being out there and seeing some of that stuff take place. But skills challenges too. We got some pretty skilled players in this league, so
right.
I don't know. And I'm also looking forward to seeing who's going to be on our team, right?
Yes.
Like I'm hoping AT and DB will be on the team, but not really sure. So checking that out Saturday, right? Saturday at 1 o'clock. Yeah, we'll find out.
There's a live draft selection of teams, and so we're hoping. But I don't know. Team Asia is very strategic when it comes to this. She's a competitor, so we'll see what happens. But just again, congratulations. It's so well deserved.
Thank you.
So speaking of Breezy, hate to go here. I know I've probably asked you a million questions over the course of the last 2 weeks, but since the last time we had the show, Breezy is out with a season-ending injury. Just, what does it mean to this team in terms of, how you have had to change, how you've coached, and how the team has had to adjust in her absence?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's just really heartbreaking for her. Not just because of the work that she's put in to position herself to be ready to start, on our team and in this league and take another step forward in her journey. But it just, you never want to see that happen to anybody. And for Breezy, we were heartbroken for her. I think the first thing that we had to do was just really rally our troops.
Yeah.
Rally the team to finish the game.
Yeah.
Even, hey, we've got to stay locked in and we've got to do this for her. I think it gives us an opportunity to play for something bigger than ourselves. You know, sometimes we can get lost in the wins and losses, and now it gives us an opportunity to really play for her every day and remind ourselves that every day we have an opportunity to step on the floor. It's a blessing, and we need to take advantage of that. But in terms of how we play, you know, it just opens us up a little bit more. We'll be a little bit more perimeter oriented. You'll see a lot of open space to create off the bounce, to utilize some more off-ball screening and cutting actions. You know, so defensively, you know, we have opportunities to be more versatile, more disruptive, but at the same time, you really miss that solid force inside when it comes to rebounding, protecting the paint, and those things. So we've got to do that collectively and really challenge our group. Everybody has to step up and be better. No one person is going to replace Breezy. Everybody has to step up and give us a little bit more.
How reassuring is it, in the best way that it can be, that this team is a team who has had to deal with this kind of injury before, in terms of having to play at a high level, missing a key or core player?
I think it's big. You know, it's a resilient group, and when you've been there and you understand that you can get to a different level without a key component, is important, because there's always a little bit of a confidence blow. Always some questions, even if it's subconsciously in your mind, of what are we going to be like without this person. And this core group has experienced that, you know, multiple times, and have found success in various ways. And so I think that that's really important. I think it's a good advantage that we have, and this group understands what it takes to win. They understand what it means to compete every single day. And when you have leaders on the team like AT and DB and a core group who's been through it, I think it certainly does help us continue to move forward.
Yeah, one of the adjustments that you've made is shifting Rebecca Allen into the starting group. And, you know, I've been high on her. She's proven herself in this league. But what do you think, in your eyes, that she brings, you know, not only to this team, but what has she brought to the starting lineup?
Well, certainly the ability to stretch the floor with her three-point shot, and it does continue to open things up a little bit more for us on the perimeter. But her length, you know, her ability to be a solid defender using her length. I think she had a career high in blocks the other day with like 5, I think. You know, she's a really good rebounder from a guard position. They have to continue to just put it on her radar. And you know, so oftentimes when shooters are not shooting as well as they want to shoot, or when they sometimes lose everything else. And for Beck, that everything else is really important to us, because she is an underrated defender, because she does make things happen. When you look at her and you think, okay, well, maybe she's not going to make the play, she finds a way to make the play. And that's important for us. And getting another long, athletic rebounding guard was important to have on the floor as well.
Yeah, another, you know, player who, like, Nay is my boo, okay? I love Nay. Just everything about her attitude, her character, she's so fierce. And I always call her energy, because anytime we see her coming off the bench, I feel she brings so much energy, right? Career high 23 points against New York. Like, she's just, and we talked about her, gave her a shout out last show, but just, how have you seen her grow in her maturation over these last few weeks, especially given that you're asking for everyone to give a little bit more?
Well, I think a few things. First and foremost, her decision making with the ball in her hands. You know, she is somebody who can get downhill. She can get to the rim, and now she's finding the right play, whether that's scoring, getting opportunities at the foul line, finding a way to spray it out for the three, keeping her dribble alive. She's making the right reads, making the right play. She's a tremendous rebounding guard for us, and being able to give us extra possessions on the offensive end with offensive rebounds, defensively being the lockdown defender that we know, and then continuing to go get the board so that we can start the break is really important. You know, so those things are huge. And you're absolutely right. You know, having her energy off the bench and being able to give our team a lift is so important. And you know, one of the reasons why, when you go back and forth about, okay, well, who's going to be inserted into the starting lineup, and why, you know, I felt like it was really important that we continue to have that energy off the bench from May. And I think she's shooting the ball really, really well, and so she adds another weapon on the perimeter for us as far as a three-point shooter.
Yeah, she really does shoot the ball well, and when she gets in a rhythm, she is in a rhythm. I think one thing that I thought was really funny is we were in media availability and we were asking DB about Dejanay, and DB says, you know, one, she's not a rookie anymore,
Yeah.
right? So that's number one. But number two, I really love her and her energy, but don't tell her that I said that, because we want to keep her focused. So I'm kind of telling her, because I know she's watching. DB loves you, Nay. But to that point, though, you know, having vets in the locker room who can really hold other players accountable and who can set an expectation, like how much pressure does that take off of you, knowing you have the kind of team that is going to do that for your teammates?
It's huge. I mean, really, there's no leadership like peer leadership, and you know, anybody who's been a part of a team understands that, you know, at the end of the day, you want to take care of the people that you're right beside every single day, and having a voice with DB and with AT of accountability, of encouragement, you know, of empowerment, you know, all of those things matter. You know, it's not just the holding someone accountable and helping them understand what we need from them. It's also empowering them and encouraging them to be the best version of themselves and to understand, you know, what we need from them and to do what they do really well. And so being able to have, you know, those voices in the locker room is so important. And on the floor, you know, oftentimes as a coach, there's a fine balance of how much to push and challenge and hold accountable in practice and not. And, you know, I don't have to, because, you know, they'll be like, hey, we're going to do it till we get a stop. Or we gotta make sure that we're doing this the right way, do it till we get it right, those kinds of things. And it's just, it's a blessing for a coach to have leaders like that.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of fans have wondered, well, who's going to replace Breezy? Is Connecticut going to find a new player? And I mean, it's a fair question to ask. So I guess this is a two-parter where not necessarily, yes, we have pinpoint Jeremy that's going to fill in for Breezy, but more so along the lines of, has there been a conversation about bringing in another player? And if so, what are the kind of things that go into that conversation? Is it chemistry? Is it, you know, salary cap? Is it this player brings this, and so we need a player that's going to bring this? Like, what's that conversation like?
Well, it wouldn't be Jeremy. He's a little undersized.
You are a little small, Jeremy. We're sorry.
Yeah, all of those things come into play. I mean, first and foremost, you know, can we afford them? You know, the hard salary cap is tough, and it makes it really tough. And you know, being able to bring someone in who can impact our team on the floor, who's going to be a positive impact on our team in the locker room. You know, I feel like this group has really good chemistry, and you don't want to take a chance that might upset that, because good chemistry, you know, connected teams are winning teams, and good chemistry can get you further, you know, than having talent necessarily all the time. And so making sure that you can get somebody, if you're going to bring someone in, they've got to make you better in more ways than just on the floor. And so really trying to evaluate at this time who might that be, who's available, who can we afford, who's going to be a good character person in our locker room, who's going to fit with what we need, you know, on the floor, who's going to be able to give us so many minutes and production. And that's a tough thing to find at this point right now. I mean, we certainly talk about the limited number of jobs of multiple players, whether here or abroad, that have been playing, you know, for other countries in different championships and things like that. So I'm thankful that's Darius' job. But at the same time, it's something that we will continue to look into.
That Darius knew I was going to ask that question. That's why he did.
Yes, he is trying to
avoided the question. That's what it was. Just, you know, continuing about how well the players have been playing. You know, Natisha Heidemann, she and I have talked, and I've been like, girl, I don't know where your defense is coming from, but it's come from somewhere, and just how important that's been for the team. But as the point guard, and really trying to take that and embrace that, just like, what do you take away from how she's been leading from that position this year?
It's big for us. You know, I think every year in this league, players need to take a step forward.
Yeah.
You know, for T, I feel like it was, you know, her ability to lead vocally and by example. You know, her ability to step into a starting role. I know she started last year, but step into a starting role and own it, not step into a starting role like a backup.
Yeah.
And I think she's done that. I think she's done a really good job of being vocal, of being assertive, of really trying to understand what we want out of our offense, and of being a lockdown defender. You know, she's somebody that we need to put pressure on the ball 94 feet, that we need to be able to make life difficult for opponents, perimeter players and perimeter scorers. You know, she might not have the strength or the girth of Tip or the length of Beck, but she has the quickness and the ability to be a nuisance, and we need her to continue to be that nuisance.
Yeah, she definitely has irritated some folks this year for sure. We can't talk enough about how much Alyssa Thomas means to this team and how well she's played this season. But just being able to witness a league leading in 8 days, you had 3 triple doubles. Like, what? It's not even. And someone asked me once, like, why is that so rare? And I mean, as someone who played in this league before, you know, you could speak to that way better than I can, but like, why is something like that so rare?
Well, everything has to really fall into place.
Yeah.
I mean, and you think about not just rare, but rare for a player like AT who's undersized for a post, right? Who's not really a perimeter player, who's the ultimate tweener.
Right.
You know, not just being able to score the basketball and rebound, because she does get such great position, but when you're getting it the way that she's getting it with your assists, it's putting your teammates in positions to be successful, and then they got to make the shot. Right? They got to make the shot. So on a day where we're not shooting the ball too well, we're not helping her cause for those triple doubles. No, but it's just difficult because everything really does have to fall in line. But I think it's a testament, when you watch AT play, it's really a testament to her IQ, her understanding of the game, her understanding of how and when to get her teammates the basketball. Rebounding wise, you know, oftentimes she's not the tallest,
right?
She's certainly the strongest, but she understands positioning. She understands how to track the ball. Where's the shot coming from? Where is it going to come off? Her timing is impeccable. She's just really got a nose for the ball. I'm a little surprised she hasn't gotten a triple-double that's incorporated with steals, because she does get her hand on the ball a lot. She does put herself in position to get some steals. But it's, you know, you have to watch and just really appreciate what she brings to the table. And oftentimes it's difficult to appreciate it unless you're really in it, and you see how hard she works, and you see all the things that she sees in a game and in practice. And so I'm just fortunate and thankful that I do get to witness that.
Yeah, I mean, are there moments where you're like, ooh, AT is like 2 steals away or 2 rebounds away? I gotta let her. I mean, clearly she's fighting you to stay in the game anyway, so it's not like you're really gonna take her out. But there's gotta be moments where you're like, man, she's 2 rebounds away. I think I can just let her get these 2 rebounds.
I don't usually know that. Somebody has to tell me. Like, there was a game, I can't remember where we were, and Dee Dee was like, oh, 1 more assist. I was like, 1 more assist for what? And she's like, a triple-double. I was like, it's the 3rd quarter. Really? Okay. Right? Like, you know, or have somebody on our staff tell us, you know, it's because I'm not really tracking that or paying attention to that, so it's important for us to have, you know, someone on our staff that makes me aware, because yes, that's big, that's huge, that's important, and if we're in a position where she can be on the floor to get that, that it's not putting anyone at risk,
right.
Then we're gonna do it.
Yeah. AC, just slow down, sis. We're not gonna be. And what's funny about that is I said, AT, oh my God, like you are just killing it out here with the triple doubles. And instead of saying like, yeah, you know, I'm patting myself on the back, she's like, yeah, but you know what? I really should have held the ball a little bit. And I'm like, really? Are you really critiquing yourself right now in this moment? Like that just to me speaks to the kind of player she is. Even in a moment where she should be celebrating, she's picking herself apart. Like,
and she's another coach on the floor. You know, she really is. And sometimes I'll say, okay, well, put your coaching hat on right now.
Yeah.
And let's talk this through. But she really is, and she understands the game, and she understands situational basketball too, and that's one of the things that makes her great.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of coaches, let's kind of shift the conversation a bit. And fans, if you guys have questions, we've got someone. Yes, there you go. Thank you. So, just kind of shifting gears a little bit to coaching, we have, since our last show, saw some turnover in coaching. Vanessa Nygaard is no longer the coach of the Phoenix Mercury. Nikki Blue is now taking that position in just last week. James Wade took a position with the Toronto Raptors. And so, what does these coaching changes mean? I think sometimes we ask coaches when they're out of players, you know, how do you game plan against new players or someone being missing? But how do you game plan against new coaches?
I don't know that you necessarily do, outside of, you know, sometimes you have a tendency for the old coaches to know what's coming, what they like to do after timeouts, what they like to do in end-of-game situations, who they like to get the ball to, what are the actions that they like to run. You know some of those things, and so as we head towards, midpoint of the season, it's really getting to know the tendencies of these new coaches. The game plan is still for the players on the floor and what they bring to the table. Now it's the little nuances of, are they getting the ball in different positions? What kind of tweaks are they making? Because you can't really reinvent the wheel in the middle of the season.
Right.
So are they getting the ball and what tweaks are they making offensively? What are the differences and tweaks they're making defensively? And then really watching film on situational basketball. What are their tendencies going to be? Are they going to the rim? Are they post options? Are they misdirections? Those kinds of things. And just really starting to get a feel for what those look like.
Yeah, and with this happening, it has also kind of brought about this controversial conversation of coaches or people in general using or making it seem like the WNBA has become like a stepping stone for more opportunities. And so, I kind of toss in between, well, one, is not everything that we do supposed to be an opportunity for us to do it so well that we get offered something different or something that might pay a little more, something that might be a little bit more spotlight. Then you also have those who feel like, the WNBA is the top of the top. There shouldn't be, a stepping stone sort of. So I'm just curious to know, where you fall in terms of coaches, or not even just coaches, but just people getting opportunities that start or begin in the WNBA.
Yeah, it's you're right. I believe that you're right. I think certainly everybody has goals and dreams and things that they want to strive for, positioning themselves for different levels of success and whatever that means to them. Certainly, it's not on us to determine what that means for someone else. If it's a job that someone starts in, you certainly don't want them to plateau there, right?
Right.
I think as human beings, we want everybody to become their greatest self, right? But at the same time, I am incredibly happy for James Wade. I think that he's paid his dues in this league for a long, long time, and has always, wanted to be an NBA coach. And you don't always get opportunities, and you don't know if those opportunities are going to come around again. And timing stinks. There's no doubt about it, and I'm sure just knowing him as a human being that he really wrestled and struggled with that. But at the same time, you've got to take advantage when it's there. And I think anybody in any industry would do the same things. As fans and as people that are involved with teams, we certainly want it to stay the same. And we want them to, and it doesn't mean that they're any more or less invested while you're there.
Yes.
It's just you can't predict when other opportunities present themselves. And so, it's life. And we can like it or dislike it, but at the same time, I think if you really sit back and put yourself in that person's situation, you can't fault them for that. And we all have to make hard choices.
Yeah, agree. I think it's difficult to make the argument that someone isn't invested when you win a championship.
Yes.
To me, you were the ultimate investment in that. So.
And he's been in this league for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm going to take a question from the fans for a little bit here, and the first one is. In the past, we have done coaches clinics for high school coaches. Is that something you would be interested in doing?
Oh, yeah. I think it's certainly an opportunity to get together with like-minded people and do some clinics for coaches. Oftentimes I think we think about doing it for players, but I do think that's a great idea to do it for coaches, high school coaches, college coaches, whatever that might be.
Yeah, look, so we know whose question that was. All right. And I'll take a second one before. Is there a protocol that the WNBA has that the coaches can do some kind of evaluative process where they can review the calls of the previous game? Why are you trying to get Coach Fine? You're trying to get Coach Fine on the show.
I've already done fine, thank you. There is a process. I'm not convinced that it works. Oh, see, we're cutting me out. The perfect time to cut out. We're talking about the officials. Yes. There is a process. I don't know that it really works. But yes, there is.
There we go. That's all we can say about
That's
that.
all we can say about it.
All right. So we have seen. I'm not going to say anything about the officials. She was waiting for it. I could see her in her face.
Oh, go ahead. They won't find you.
They won't find me. We've seen quite a few 40-point games this year. Even one from our own DeWanna Bonner, 41 points. I'm still like raving over that. But we've also seen one from Enrique. We've seen one from Brianna, Jewel Lloyd, Ryan Howard. Just what does it say to you about the direction of the league in terms of how big offensive production is starting to be for this league?
I think more than anything, it just shows, how good players are. And to be able to do it against best defensive players in the world, in the best league in the world, the ways in which they're doing it, multiple ways, whether it's, not necessarily only from the three-point line, get to the foul line, making tough shots. I mean, oftentimes in the past you would see somebody just got hot from three and all of a sudden they had a 30, 40, 50-point game. But it's happening and with tremendous one-on-one defenders on them, tremendous team defenses. I just think it shows how far that the game has come, the versatility of players, the individual ability to just make plays. And then, when your teams are around them, figure out who's got the hot hand and continue to give them the ball. I mean, that's, again, awareness and finding out how can we best position them to get these shots up while they have the hot hand. And, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch. We've got some dynamic scorers in this league, and to see them go to work every day is incredible.
Now, we also have some really awesome theme nights that are coming up. I always love our theme nights. They're always a lot of fun. Just so that, and I'm going to read these to make sure I don't get it wrong, because I don't want Alexandra to come to me for getting it wrong. So tomorrow, July 6th, we have the Hometown Heroes Night, where we're going to be recognizing members of the military, first responders, essential workers. Can we give some love to our hometown heroes? I'm married to a vet, and it is often, like, they deserve a lot of love and recognition. There's also the Breast Health Awareness Game that is presented by Yale New Haven on July 9th at 3 against the Mystics. This game is going to be held to raise awareness for the importance of breast cancer, using early detection and local resources. And, when I think about the breast cancer awareness, it always makes me think of basketball, about Kay Al, and just how important she was to so many people into this game. It also makes me think about so many other coaches and people who have really paved the way in terms of how they have made women's basketball so important and unfortunately succumb to breast cancer. I think for you, Coach, when I think about these theme nights, and there are a couple more that I'm going to get to, but when I think about these theme nights and someone like her, is there someone who you feel like has really inspired you in terms of coaching, whether that's, I don't know, a Kay Al or your former coach, Carolyn Pegg, or like, is there someone who you feel like in this coaching realm has really inspired you?
There have been a number of coaches. I mean, I think certainly any coach that I ever played for or worked for and worked with has impacted me in a lot of different ways. I mean, in college I played for 3 coaches in 4 years, and certainly Carolyn impacted me in how I communicate with players. I learned so much about two-way communication and being open to receiving the feedback of your athletes. And then how you communicate back to them. And, from Linda, who was a mentor of mine, who really taught me, what it means to be a head coach. Everything from preparation to contingencies to counters to positioning of players on the floor and making sure that you have everybody where you need them to be in order to give yourself the best opportunity for success, to think outside the box, to be surrounded by people who are going to challenge you. All of those things. I played for Nell Fortner, who was one of the all-time, greatest motivators and that I've ever been around, and just her energy and her commitment to always growing and getting better, and learning from all those people. And I'm very fortunate working in television as well to be able to just be in the gym with a number of coaches and just see different things that they do, whether it's strategic, whether it's from a communication standpoint, whether it's with their staff, preparation. That I can just take little bits and pieces and try to add them into and use them in my own way. That can help me be better, help our staff be better, and help prepare our staff to go on and be head coaches, and to help our team be better.
Yeah, I hear Nell, and all I want to say is, Nell, yeah!
Nell, yeah!
Oh, I love Nell. She was so awesome. So a couple other theme nights that we had is Camp Day on July 20th. That is an 11:30 a.m. start against the Dream. So the children are going to be in attendance. They're going to receive Connecticut's coloring books. How tough is it to prepare for an 11:30 a.m. start?
Well, that one's going to be really tough because we'll just be coming back from Phoenix, so that will be even tougher. It's really not because we practice at 10 a.m. every day. So I think from a body standpoint, we're used to being up and ready to go. I think the biggest thing is, not having a shoot around, not going through reps one last time before the game. And then at the end of the day, for us, it'll come down to that travel and making sure that not just, physically and mentally that we're prepared, but making sure that our players are sharp in a way that when we come out, we know exactly the game plan, we know exactly what we want to do from an execution standpoint, but finding ways on the front end to make sure that they're rested and ready to go.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how important practice is and how, not important because I think people realize that practice is important, but it's sometimes a scarcity when
Yes.
you're going through stretches of travel, 6 games in 12 days, and then you don't really get a chance to shoot around. We just, had a moment where we had some time off, so you were able to get that practice in, but just kind of talk a little bit about how valuable it is because it isn't always something that teams get.
It's so important, and really we had our first practice, I don't even remember what it was, last week I believe, the first practice in almost a month.
Yeah.
Because we played so many games, and if you looked at our schedule up until this week, we had played many more games than our opponents, and you can't just go into a day between games and just practice.
Yeah.
When you've got players that are playing heavy minutes, you're traveling, so we really have to be strategic about what we're trying to accomplish when we have our mental days, when we have our physical days, and when we have an opportunity like we do now to really get back to practice. You can address slippage in some areas that you've had. You can add new things that you want to have. You can take some time now to really toy with lineups and positions on the floor and matchups and things like that. So it's been really important for us.
Awesome. So our last theme night for July is the Star Wars game on July 30th at 1 against Minnesota. 2,500 fans will receive a Star Wars themed Connecticut Sun t-shirt. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so if I do not get a Star Wars t-shirt, I am going to be highly upset. I'm ready.
Me too.
Okay,
Yes.
Are you Jedi or Team Sith?
May the force be with you.
Hell, come on, let's go. Totally Team Sith over here. I deal in absolutes. Either you love me or you do not. No, I'm kidding. All right, so before we get out of here, I want to ask our last fan question, which is a good one. How did you get into coaching?
I got lucky. Really, in any job, both of my jobs, I guess I shouldn't say any job because I really only had 2. I've been lucky. I was playing in the WNBA for Indiana, and I had a woman who, her name was Tracy Rollers, who was the coach at Ball State University at the time, had come up to me and just asked me if I'd ever considered coaching. And I was like, no, I play. I've never considered coaching. And she had an assistant coaching position open on her staff. And I said, well, I'm not quite ready to give up playing. And she said, no, that's fine. You can do both. You can coach in the wintertime and still play in the summer. Ball State is just up the road from Indianapolis where I was playing with the Fever. And so I thought, you know what, maybe I will try this. Maybe I'll try coaching and see what it's all about. I certainly knew it was going to be a lot of work, but the moment that I stepped foot on the floor at Ball State University, I knew that coaching is what I wanted to do. So I got lucky.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we appreciate you, and we're glad that you're here with us. Congrats again on being our all-star head coach, and fans, we hope to see you at our July 6th matchup against the Seattle Storm. And for all of you that are here in attendance, thank you so much for hanging out with us at the Coaches Show. Tarika Foster-Bransby, Coach Stephanie White. See you guys.
Thank you.